The Space Quest series. A series of 6 games released by Sierra from 1986 to 1995. And there was actually a 7th game teased in 1998. Sadly, it never happened. I think that's when everything went crazy with Sierra. Started going crazy, at least. This was a fun series to play through. As with Sierra's products, they usually each game has a base that they use for it. The Space Quest series was mainly science fiction, and you could see that throughout many games in the series. That Star Trek and Star Wars and other science fiction franchises and movies and that were pretty much key in how this game was set up, but it was also full of other, offbeat humor jokes. And the initial games were basically you didn't have a name for your character. Well, the first 2 games you could type in a name for your character or use the default of Roger Wilco, which is in essence one of the series' first jokes. Because Roger Wilco was actually old radio terms. Roger, I understand. Wilco, will comply. So, of course, they would go Roger Wilco over and out. And Roger was a janitor. Something that is completely mentioned and pointed to in almost every entry in the series. And each entry of the series, you have Roger facing off for a majority of the titles against the Valhall family. At least this is later deduced, depending on what you read and all that. But that could be debated, I suppose. I mean, the first 2 games, it's definitely, quote, Valhall. Sludge Valhall. Except he was the one behind telling the Saurians in the first one about the star generator. The 4th game, he comes back. The 5th game, he's apparently related to Ramses Quirk. And the 6th game, he's apparently related to Sharpay. In fact, the only, quote, villain you have in the series that he's apparently not related to is Elmo Pug. But the series basically works out. Roger is a janitor. He is capable. I mean, he can slack off and still keep his job to a degree. In fact, the series starts with you, quote, waking up on the ship Arcadia from a nap in the closet, only to find out that the ship has been taken over by the Saurians. And of course, this is from the early days of Sierra, where if you forgot something and moved on, you're screwed. So Roger, quote, escapes the Arcadia before it goes kerblooey. He escapes to the planet Corona. I am not joking on that. That is actually how the name of the planet is said. Where he lands, quote, in the desert. So, got to grab what you need from the ship and then make it over to an area. Be thankful you make it there before the big worm gets you. Of course, you have to avoid a Saurian hunter droid or spider droid. You have to defeat the Orat before finding your way to a little cave where you have to make your way over to the beings that live in that area, who have apparently been terrorized by the Orat. After that, you must endure an arcade sequence to cross over to Ulince Flats, which until recently I did not know was a fart joke. Ulince Flats. Flats Ulince. There you have to work up funds by playing a dangerous slot machine or cheating your way through it. Yes, I did that. I didn't find out about that until years later. I used to do it the old-fashioned way. Save before every spin. You find out about where the Saurians are. So you have to get a ship and a droid. Because Star Wars reference. And the bar is also full of in-jokes. Like sometimes you can go in and you'll see an alien band playing. Sometimes you go in, you will see ZZ Top playing. Or sometimes you go in, you see the Blues Brothers singing. You get all that stuff. Gotta get a jetpack too. And then you, quote, get your ship. And if you play the VGA remake of the game, you actually see Roger appear as you leave in the time pod, time skimmer, whatever you want to call it, from Space Quest 4. That was a brilliant choice on their part. Of course, then you make your way automatically through an asteroid field. And you must now sneak around the ship of the Saurians, while at the same time basically making sure you get a disguise in comical fashion by hiding in a washing machine. Don't ask me how he survived that. And then basically setting the star generator up, which is now going to be used as a weapon to self-destruct, destroying the Saurian ship. And you're heralded as a hero. Yay! In a typical Star Wars type ending. Well, the ending is mimicking Star Wars A New Hope. And then we go to Space Quest 2, Wuhal's Revenge, where after Roger is a hero, he is back to being a janitor. Although they had a little fun with Space Quest 6 because you could, I mean Space Quest 2, you could actually, because he's in an airlock, you have to walk, well, cleaning outside in the spacesuit, you have to walk up to the airlock entrance, which is on the ceiling. So you gotta just walk up there. And again, you have to get everything you need because this is a game where you can easily make a mistake and end the game, even in the first scenes. And you get called to clean out a shuttle where somebody has gotten sick. This is a trap because it is Vu Hall's shuttle. Not that you are aware of it. Anyhow, he captures you. He's going to send you to the planet Labian. And the guards he sends you with look like the apes from Planet of the Apes. So, due to a mistake on their part and dumb luck on your part, you're able to escape. Now, you have to do so very carefully, and you have to get the oddball things to save yourself. You find these little pink aliens on there on the planet. You rescue one, they'll help you later. Actually, they help you in multiple ways. You have to get across a swamp with a very dangerous monster in it. So you have to find, of course, get some berries to make yourself distasteful to it. Good timing, good thinking there. Of course, you're also trying to avoid guards, and there's a predator-like alien on the planet. Although he doesn't cloak himself. But you have to get past him. You have to get caught by him. You have to escape him. You have to find your way to the cave to where the pink aliens live, which is down a chasm. Also, to get the berries, you gotta get past the root monster. Sierra loved to have in a portion of their early games, a maze that was one wrong move and you're dead. I kid you not on that. There is one climbing the beanstalk in King's Quest 1 was like that. The root monster is another one. I mean, I could think of a couple of them in the games that they've released. But you gotta be careful. Once you get that, and you cross the swamp and get down in the chasm, avoid the big ugly thing, which is in and of itself a slight arcade sequence. A slight, I say. Of course, Roger eventually makes his way through the game, and he gets back to the landing pad, take out the guards, using a jockstrap slingshot. And it's only now that I realize that that might have been inspired by a skit on Monty Python. So you get up to the shuttlecraft, you go to leave, and oh, Sludge was anticipating that and has taken over the ship to bring you to his base, which in and of itself is full of traps. By the way, Sludge is now planning to ruin Xenon by sending a fleet of door-to-door insurance salesmen. Anyhow, you make your way through, avoiding traps, avoiding dangerous creatures in pens, and some being released. One such creature being the Face Kisser, which looks like the alien from Aliens. It kisses you and implants an embryo in you, which will bust out later if it catches you. I had that happen. Getting past dangerous sentry robots, a trap to drop you in acid, and when you finally get to Sludge, he shrinks you down. You have to get out of that, sneak in and shut off his life support, killing him, then stop the insurance salesman from being launched, and of course escape the place before it goes kerblooey by getting into an escape shuttle with a cryosleep chamber in it. Sort of reminiscent of the ending of Alien. Then we move on to Space Quest 3, in which we don't know how long we've been asleep. Turns out not long. Roger ends up, his shuttle is picked up by a garbage scow, so he must escape. And in the garbage scow, you start seeing a lot of jokes in there. You got the Jupiter 2 from Lost in Space, Optimus Prime's head, a bunch of other things in there. And once you are able to get everything you need to power the shuttle, the one working spacecraft, you are off. And you head, I think, first to planet Fleabot. However, you are also being pursued by Arnoid, who is trying to collect built-up charges and fines from the Gypazoid company, all because of an unpaid-for fee on the Labian Terror Beast whistle you got in the second game. So you get to Fleabot, get to the local tourist trap, get some items you're going to need later, until you are encountered by Arnoid, which you must now outwit him and trap him, and get him destroyed before you can safely plant Fleabot. Because if you actually go back to your ship and try to escape, like he quote allows you to do, he's actually waiting there and kills you. So once you get everything together and leave the planet, you head off to a Monolith Burger. Get a meal where you get a decoder ring and the famous game of Astro Chicken, where you play that. Find out that the game is sneaky and rigged to make it difficult for you to win, which was an old gimmick used in the old days, increasing difficulty. But once he does that, he gets a message which can be translated using the decoder ring you get in your Happy Meal, so to speak, in which you must rescue the two guys from Andromeda, who are, quote, the creators of the Space Quest games, as they are held by Scumsoft, And this is where you really get your main enemy in the game. Once you get to find out about their base, so you have to go down to Ortega to basically reveal the moon Pestilon, where they are. The pirates of Pestilon. They are actually Scumsoft, which was a poke at Microsoft. Elmo Pug could be seen as a parody of Bill Gates. If Bill Gates was heavier, shorter, and stereotypically nerdish. Yes, because you have to sneak around an office. And I have to say that the Scumsoft base is my least favorite location in all these games because of the design they used for it. Of course, you once again don your janitor attire to clean up in the office so you can sneak around and get what you need. And find that your ship has been found. You rescue the two guys, take part in another arcade-type sequence to end the game of Rock'em Sock'em robots, and then protecting the ship and blasting the enemies. To which they then go through what appears to be a black hole, which somehow brings them to our universe, and they land at Sierra's office, where Ken Williams hires the two guys from Andromeda because they are computer programmers, and doesn't hire Roger because he does not need a janitor. And Roger heads back, thus ending the first three games of Space Quest. And then comes the most brilliant entry in the franchise, Space Quest 4, Roger Wilco and the Time Rippers, where time travel is a key component. You see, Roger starts at a bar, telling about his adventures, when the sequel police show up. Take him outside, and he finds out that Sludge is in charge of them, and he has had them come back to kill Roger. To which Roger is rescued by two members of the Resistance from the future. And they go through time shoot him through time to Space Quest 12, Blue Hall's Revenge. Now, I say this is also one of the best entries because of the time travel. And they really use the technology of the time to push this game to its limits in the most successful way. The new gaming engine, because CDs were now becoming a thing, they had the voicey version. Had it announced by Gary Owens. And because Roger got shot to the future, you actually see two future Space Quest games. Blue Hall's Revenge 2, which is Space Quest 12, and Latex Babes of Estros, which is Space Quest 10. Anyhow, he must survive in Xenon in the future, hiding from those that would seek him out and kill him. Getting everything he needs and catching an Energizer Bunny, which is still running around after all those, God knows how many years. you eventually get into the sewers where you can find the resistance base and find out what exactly happened. Which is basically running with another joke with Sierra. They found a copy of Leisure Suit Larry 4, which was actually Sludge's mind. Somehow it was uploaded to computer and set up in that way, where he takes over the master computer system and takes over all of Xenon. So Roger has to, quote, now get into the headquarters of the sequel police, which he does, and work his way to getting what he needs to defeat Sludge. Of course, this involves trying to jump back in time. Ends up jumping forward in time. Of course, you hear that they have checked out other previous space quests. And as he jumps around, he ends up going to Space Quest 10, where we still never know what he did to piss off the latex babes of Estros. But he gets on their good side after saving them from a sea slug. And it was a giant sea slug type thing. At least that's what they called it. I mean, they were about to torture him with an epi-razor, which was notoriously dangerous. Supposed to shave the hair, was yanking it out. Ugh, painful. But once he's successful at avoiding that and helping them, they go to the mall, where the leader drops her bank card. So Roger must now, quote, earn money for a disguise and then earn money to basically get what he's going to need to get the money from the card, and then get what he needs to somehow beat Sludge. And this involves getting a connector for his little mini computer that he found on Space Quest 12. Of course, to get the money off the card, he has to dress like a woman. So he has to earn money to get a costume. Luckily, he can get a better costume, or get a redo of his costume, his outfit, from the men's store. Minimal charge. He gets a job at Monolith Burger, which is an arcade sequence, which, if you actually slow the game down, you can actually kick its butt. That's what I did. You get the job twice to build up your cash reserves. And of course, then you're outrunning the sequel police after even getting a hint book for Space Quest 4. Which helps you get the code that you need to return home, or return to Space Quest. Will get you everything you need for Space Quest 10, or to get back, or go to another location. You end up going to Space Quest 1. You have to get something there and avoid the monochrome boys. There's another meta joke. There's tons of meta jokes in this one. Of course, Space Quest 1 in that and Space Quest 4 looks like what Space Quest 1 did before the VGA remake. Of course, once you get everything together, you are making your way through the maze of Space Quest, of the Central Computer Complex. This is also where you find out that the person who rescued you was actually your son, Roger Wilco Jr. And once you, of course, Sludge has downloaded his brain into Roger Jr., so you have to get Roger's brain back into him and totally totally get rid of Vuhal's brain. You save the day. Roger Jr. tells you about your future Mrs. Wilco, only that her name was Beatrice. And you return to Space Quest 4, ending the game. Of course, after this, Roger decides he's going to clean up his act. He's going to try to excel. So he joins StarCon, learning about that. And you see all sorts of in-jokes in that game, too. This one's obviously more Star Trek jokes. I mean, you got an engineer who dresses like in the overalls and all that. Obviously not StarCon outfit. They call him Cliffy. Obviously, this is a play on Scotty from Star Trek. Roger, of course, has to, quote, you can either cheat or you can memorize all the answers from a previous playthrough and actually get them all right. Of course, according to the guy, however, that you, quote, cheat off of, he put all the wrong answers down. I have personally played through the whole thing, but it doesn't matter if you cheat or not. A foul-up happens in the machine, and you get your captainship. Of course, in the process of this, you also have to, quote, clean up the crest. You meet Quirk and you meet Beatrice, who you also realize will be the missus. Of course, she can't believe that you are the same Roger Wilco, savior of the universe. Understandable. So, of course, Roger gets his captainship, and of course, Quirk gives him a garbage scow. In the process, we get our pet Spiky. Don't know whatever happened to him in 6, but, which is like a face hugger, highly acidic, but you can actually calm him down with an antacid bath. And you start to, as you are cleaning up things and on your way to some R&R after doing your duty, you intercept a message that was actually meant for Quirk. And we start to get an idea of something happening, of course. Quirk challenges you to a game of Battle Cruiser, which is a space-age version of Battleship. Win or lose, doesn't matter. Story still continues. Cliffy gets in trouble. You have to cause a distraction and then rescue Cliffy. This also earns some admiration from your crew, and now they are more friendly to you. You end up heading to another planet where things have gone downhill because of quote, what is called primordial soup, which Quirk knows about and financed. And this highly dangerous thing is turning people into, quote, pucoids. And hence these things can now transmit it if you're not careful. So you now have to find out what's going on. You get a distress signal where you go to another planet. And I gotta say, in the process also you are encountered by another android, WD-40, who is also after you for the whole Levion terror whistle thing. Of course, you'd stop and destroy her, so to speak. Cliffy rebuilds her. We get the cloaking device from her ship and incorporate it into ours. That's, of course, before the whole R&R thing. But after that, you're working your way through. You got to rescue. Cliffy's got to fix the ship. He gets disconnected from it. You rescue him after you escape from Quirk after rescuing Beatrice. In a humorous rescue, you save Beatrice, put her in a cryosleep to slow down the mutation. You find out how to defeat the mutation thanks to some ingenious thinking by Cliffy and an accident involving you and a fly and a transporter, a la The Fly. You then make your way to the Goliath, sneak aboard with some neat little cameos in there. If you can catch Pac-Man in there. Seeing Pac-Man, you just have to be careful. Make your way all the way to the bridge. Set things up. Escape the Pucoid group by ducking into the transporter room while they're distracted. When they all come in, you do the transporter trick with them, and they're safe. Quirk's gone, becoming one with the big pucoid blob that is now outside the ships. So you pull him into the Eureka. Set that to self-destruct. Escape. Back on board the Goliath, and everybody is safe. The StarCon is safe. The universe is safe, and you head on back. Roger and Beatrice are now an item. This could have actually been a fine title to end the series on. That one. But of course they did number 6, in which Roger is demoted, but not fully drummed out of StarCon. He's reduced to janitor, second class. Always a janitor. He works on the Deep Ship 86, which looks like a giant jockstrap. This has more Star Trek references in it, as well as other things. And it has a bit of an old gag in it that I think came from Infocom, where something always ends up, even if you don't take it with you, you always end up with this item in your inventory. And in this case, it's a fish. Well, because of an excellent adventure in a previous mission that went well, they are all allowed to have shore leave on Polysorbate 60. Yeah. Well, transporter accident has Roger halfway in the street. Not killed, thankfully. He's just stuck in the street. He gets out. Now he has to get money to get a room because the place where he's supposed to go, the Doom Beam Inn, doesn't have a room for Roger. Also, it appears that someone is after Roger. And it could be that they had arranged for the innkeep to be paid off to tell him not to have a room. Because the guys need a clue on how to get, you know, Roger for definite. So Roger is resourceful. We have an encounter with a combination of Blade Runner Reploid and T-1000 that sounds a lot like T-800. We find such figures from Space Quest 3 there. I mean, Space Quest 4 even had mention of Fester Blatz, and Fester Blatz is now on Polysorbate 60. We find Elmo Pug, who is now washed out on the street selling cheat codes to games. We go in the liquor store and you see E.T. there. Movie theater on the planet is selling all sorts of things, showing all different types of things whenever you walk onto the screen. And you have so many other things that you have to avoid and deal with. Well, once you figure your way out and get your money together, you get abducted by these two guys who have Mahdi units in the back of their heads, which will involve what you have to do is, of course, for the one who is busy at a computer, once you're able to free yourself, you give them one hell of a shock to the system by building up a nice little static charge. And the other you embarrass by fooling him into picking up a burlesque body and plugging it in. But he's not so stupid that he can't read, so you gotta think that one out. You escape thanks to a character named Stellar Santiago. And of course, just as you're escaping, they're like, "Don't forget your fish." So after you're on the ship, they take, you're off on another mission where they have requested Roger specifically to clean up the quarters of Sharpay. And I don't care what you say, if you're specifically asking for a specific janitor by name, that raises red flags in my book. I'm like, why do you want this specific janitor? Something ain't right. Well, Roger, they go, they find out, yep, it seems to be a trap as things are going crazy, which Sharpay sets up when Roger is not particularly looking. And of course, feigning, she feigns the old lady act. Stellar arrives, figuring out something's not right about it, rescues Roger, but gets trapped herself, allowing them to set up a streetcar named Desire reference. We then have a quote funeral for her. And we learn about. So Roger must now rescue her because she is still alive. She sent him a message. So Roger learns some things, learns about how to do the vulgar neck pinch move. The captain will not, quote, entertain a rescue mission. So Roger has to steal a shuttlecraft. Of course, his first attempt will be unsuccessful, getting him thrown into the brig. And in the other cell is the creature from Forbidden Planet. Oh, and your security guard is blind as a bat, and that's with glasses on. He makes Mr. Magoo look like he has 20/20 vision. So, you got to fool your way out. Get what you need from other crew members, one of which is a direct pun on Data. The name of the ship is a pun in and of itself. I mean, deep ship. Deep shit. And 86 means, of course, throw out something. Anyhow, once you get everything you need, you escape through a shuttlecraft. And yes, there's other shuttlecrafts on there, like the Sulaco from Aliens and other various crafts from various other shows. I think even Starbug's in there. I could be wrong on that one. But you, of course, get away, and as everybody starts showing up and the guards start showing and shooting, and one throws a fish, don't forget your fish! Gets caught in the engine. Of course, the ship stalls out. In space, you go out, you get the fish. You set up for a help, and then the narcissist from Alien comes by, and Wrigley shows up and helps you jumpstart the shuttlecraft. She gets in the ship, goes to leave. The alien still clinging on to the side of the ship, like gives you thumbs up and goes in, and the ship flies off. Roger heads to Delta Burke Salon. Of course, he doesn't. The doctor there does not feigns ignorance. You have to go then to Palosorbate, get a cyber jack, enter cyberspace, find out the truth. Cyberspace looks like a broken down highway and runs on Windows 3.1. Once you get everything together and get in there, get the information you need printed out. You use it to get the doctor to help you. And then we go from outer space. We've had outer space. We've had cyberspace. Now we go into inner space as Roger takes a fantastic journey into Stellar, where we find what we need, destroy the nanites. That's a good thing. And we get up to Stellar. She's in Stella's brain. Of course, we have to go to the stomach first to get some things that we're going to need and fix up the ship again. And once we get up there, we are able to work our way and get to her. She's in this nanite that looks like Maximilian from the Black Hole. And that's a scary looking robot, I'll tell you that. And once you destroy that thing, her brain form comes out, almost strangles you, except you have the fish! The rotten fish. But fish is brain food, and it poisons her. And you save the day and cause difficulties for Roger as now he has a love triangle. And that is basically where the series ended. Now, 7 was teased. I saw a trailer of it. The teaser trailer was released in 1998. I saw a copy on my copy of Leisure Suit Larry's Casino, in which Roger must now rescue Beatrice from sludge. So he's back again. He would have been back again, but unfortunately, Leisure Suit Space Quest 7 never happened. It should be noted that with 6 and 7 and what was proposed for 7, they had left the Roman numerals. But since 10 is supposed to be Latex Babes of Estros, and that is listed as an X, you could only assume that had the series gone on, had they gotten 7, 8, and 9 done, so one of those would have returned to Roman numerals. But sadly, it never happened. It's a shame that it ended on 6 then. Now, of course, I have no doubt there are fan attempts at future games, but the series officially ended with Space Quest 6. Which is sad. I mean, if I were to rate these games in an order, personally, I would probably have 3 down at the bottom. Mainly because I did not like that circular hallway section. 4 would definitely be at the top because literally they utilized everything that they could at the time and made an excellent game. If it ended on 5, I could appreciate that because it pretty much had what was probably the happiest ending for Roger Wilco. Captaining a ship, he got the love of his life, he has respect, but they didn't. Now, of course, 5 didn't have voice acting, 6 did have voice acting, so that's a plus for that game. Some weren't fan of the cartoonish style it had, but it has its charm in my book. The cliffhanger ending didn't help that one with the love life. So I don't know how 7 was going to work. And who knows, maybe Stellar was also someone in the Sludge family tree. Who knows? But this is all I'm going to say about the Space Quest series. It's a fine series. I do recommend you play every game. There's some people who will not play 6. That's their call. I think they miss out, especially with the jokes that are in it. But it was a fine series, and I think it should be enjoyed by all. I do hope you've enjoyed this little retrospective on the Space Quest series. And I hope you subscribe to the channel and check out some of the other stuff I have up there. As always, this is Rich Kale here on YouTube, Rich Gen X elsewhere. Have fun, and goodbye all.